you guys have watched an absurd amount of preseason football. Have you seen pretty much every snap of preseason football so far?
I'll fade away on some of the fourth quarters and the third quarters.
Right.
And when it gets to be a little too much Samaje Perine and Ryan Griffin, these guys who never see a snap in a regular season game because they can't make the defender miss or they just can't make the throws.
Right.
So that's when you realize you're not watching NFL football anymore.
Okay, so then what would you say, because we are obviously stuck in the helmet Zeke Elliott vortex right now with Brown. What's the story of the preseason, if there is one, through the first 2 weeks, Chris Wesseling?
Well, I would say that Sean McVay has started this thing where nobody plays their starters.
Yeah.
So it's rare to see actual NFL football in the preseason. And 3 or 4 years ago, I don't think that was the case. You would still see starting quarterbacks playing a full half. And now you'll see 3 or 4 games in a row where you rarely see a starter.
So does that mean we're going to see choppy play in weeks 1 and week 2 again?
I think we've already seen that the last few years.
And
maybe that's why the offenses have been so far ahead of the defenses to start the season, because you're not getting as much of the hitting and the timing down on defense.
I love that McVay did it. It makes our lives easier, because it used to be a little bit of week 1, week 2, and week 3. You really have to crank through all that. The Rams didn't play any starters last year, and now there's about 5 or 6 teams, I think, that are going that route. And even the teams that do play the starters, it's only for a quarter or two. And if you look at kind of how the Rams did it, the Patriots a little bit last year, even week 1, they'll warm up into the season by playing their guys 30, 40 snaps. I think it's the sports science guys in the building. If you look at the Jaguars, for instance, who had a ton of injuries, they were the team that always did padded practices twice a day, going crazy. Now they're the total opposite. They don't play any of their guys in the preseason at all.
So has anybody flashed, for real, though, that you think can have some
from your school?
Who's that?
I was watching the Patriots game last night, and we make fun of Gregg because their fans sit on a throne of ease. They just keep getting better and better all the time. They got a guy in the 3rd round, Chase Winovich. I'm sure you've watched him at Michigan, who has a motor, the likes of which you just don't see. This guy's Rambo. He's up in the trees. He's in the cave. He's down by the riverbed. You're looking for him every play because the Titans want to get a good look at Ryan Tannehill, their fancy new backup quarterback. And Winovich is single-handedly
wrecking it,
dismantling their entire offense for a whole stretch of the second quarter into the third quarter. You finally get him blocked because here's what guys are doing to Chase Winovich after he beats their right tackle and left tackle over and over again. They have a tight end suplex him or something, or the right tackle finally gets frustrated and throws, picks him up and throws him, gets a holding penalty. They finally get done with that. They block him. Special teams, he tracks down the returner. This guy is everywhere on the field.
Well, I would look at you, Brockman, on your throne of ease, to use the Chris Wesseling phrase right there.
Very
and
comfortable.
I would say I told you so, but you met Winovich when he came here in studio, and when he walked out of here after he was on the draft, you were like, okay.
Let's get him.
He's no joke.
I mean, that was one of the best preseason performances I've ever seen, for what it's worth. I mean, he took it over. Every year I give out a preseason MVP award, and there's 2 Patriots in the mix. I mean, Winovich and Jarrett Stidham. They might have found kind of their next Jimmy G. They're the quarterback from Auburn.
You believe that?
I believe the reporters that are at practice that say he's far ahead of where Jimmy G or Jacoby Brissett were during their rookie years, that the day he showed up there, he was more accurate, kind of more together. And I think that's what you can get out of the preseason, just seeing, which doesn't mean that quarterbacks that struggle early are going to struggle forever, but some that know what they're doing right away. And I would throw Daniel Jones into that mix, who can change the play, who can go to their third read, who can change tempo. Daniel Jones was doing that during the second preseason game. That's next level, and that means they'll probably be playing sooner than later.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live, or download The Rich Eisen Show app.